morning, everybody. We're going to begin today's meeting. It is now 10 o'clock, and we do have a quorum. So we're going to begin with the agenda, which you should have a copy of. Are there any additions to the agenda today?
No.
Yeah.
So not for today, but you have something in front of you, a question. It's the one titled the SRO Grant Discussion Decision. So a question came up from several of the law enforcement agencies as it relates to the SRO grant. Their concern is that they do not have the personnel to be able to move individuals from patrol or the streets into schools. So they're hoping that this grant can be used as a hiring grant. What you have in front of you is definitions from the law itself. The funding is for school resource officers or adequate law enforcement coverage, and you also have a definition from the public safety article about what actually is and is not a law enforcement officer. So to allow you time to think about this, think about the concerns as it relates to using this as a hiring grant, I will tell you that my number one concern is putting law enforcement officers in a school who are brand new. So that is definitely a concern that I have. But if you'll allow, we can put this on the December agenda to give you time to think about it and do some research on your own.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. So please, take some time to think about it, and also as well as think about Kate's concern, which I also share. All right.
Did you want me to provide the subcabinet with a memo of any kind? Or?
No. I think it just is a matter of people.
Can I ask a clarification question to?
Sure. Yes, Bill.
So the question from the police department is, can we use the money to train somebody and then have that new person work in the school? Because I know, for example, for the Maryland School for the Deaf, they have an agreement with the city of Frederick where it's almost this, except that the understanding is that that new police officer will go out in the field and then a experienced police officer will come in. So it seems like it makes more sense.
I don't think that's what they were asking for.
Okay, they want to put a new...
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk about it in December. We have a lot of grants to cover today, and I think it deserves its own spot. So, all right, you have the minutes from October the 21st. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so I want to look to Kate for general updates.
Sure. So very quickly, we're coming to the end of this calendar year. We have quite a few things that are still in the works. We have a multi-year training plan that's going to be finalized, hopefully before the end of this year, to really talk about sort of the training that we'll be doing over the next couple of years. We've been working with our mental health service coordinators. We actually have a meeting in person with all of them on the Eastern Shore this Thursday. So they have some very immediate needs and concerns that they have that they've sort of asked the center how we can support. One of them is asking for the subcabinet to potentially have regulations around what it means to ensure services to students. If you recall, that is one of their requirements in the Safe to Learn Act. So we'll be meeting with them on Thursday. We hope to have a really good discussion. We've been having monthly meetings with them, and they've gone really well. So I think we are definitely moving forward. The National Governors Association, if you remember, we had a brief this summer on a convening that we would like to do in May as it relates to school safety and development of a strategic plan. So we are very close to starting the planning for that. We've identified the University of Maryland Center for Health and Homeland Security to be able to support us in the development of that, both strategic plan and the convening meeting that would occur in May. So just be aware, individuals in your organization will probably be asked to support the planning for that event come May, for the May event. So those are the big updates as of right now.
We had talked about a month or two ago about doing some additional training this summer for school administrators and SRO officers. Is that still on the
That is definitely
horizon?
still on.
Okay.
They're actually about halfway through the development. They're working now on the lesson plans.
Okay,
It's
great.
going to be about a 4-hour course content
Wonderful.
called Understanding the SRO.
Great.
So it could be used both for school administrators, staff, faculty, and then we're talking about sort of the next phase after that, which is truncated and shorter sessions for really the general public to really understand what it means to be an
It's
SRO.
interesting. I've been noted now on my myriad school visits that I am greeted just about everyone by the SRO. So it's been really, very positive.
Great.
And I just wanted to also bring attention to the fact that in the newspaper I read in good old Talbot County is that every school campus in Caroline County now has an assigned school resource officer. So even though it's a small county, it's a very big thing for the county to be able to afford this. So just thought I'd bring it and let you guys have a copy of it. So
Great, thank you.
thank you. Okay, all right. So we have a ton of grants to go over tonight. So do you want to start with?
Do you want to do the annual report?
Oh, I'm sorry,
very
the annual
quickly?
report. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, we have to do that, don't we?
Okay, so what you have in front of you is a draft. So what I would like to hear is if there is any content that you feel in the report as it stands right now that is either not needed or extra, that we should pull. So I don't want to focus on the formatting or anything like that yet. I just want to know if there's anything that you noticed in here that should not be included. That's in this. It was sent out via email. I have a copy here for
I
you if
just
you
want to
want.
say that I love the formatting of it, and I know that,
Do you have an extra?
you know, it's just, it's easier for people to understand when you have this kind of, you know, the accomplishments, they're very succinct, and it's right at the beginning, and I just think it really makes the report easy to digest. Some of our annual reports that we produce in other areas of our state are so dense and no one reads them, but I think this is very, you know, engaging, so you guys did a great job.
Thank you. So,
Senator Neal.
Yes.
My only criticism is, and I know why you did it, the pigs, for the piggy banks in the pictures,
oh,
just struck me as odd. For the grants, I guess, somewhere in here.
yeah, it's on the infographic page?
Yeah.
Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, the pigs. I don't have anything against pigs, but,
You didn't like them.
sorry, I like them. But I also thought that these were very nice.
So so this page that you have in front of you is in preparation for the grant review. This is actually the IAC's document. So we can incorporate something similar if you look in the appendix.
I just think that pie chart, a lot of people, the first question is going to say,
Where's the money going?
where did you put the money that we sent you?
Yep.
And I think that's as succinct as it can be.
Okay.
And I like the categories because it sort of breaks it down, the
Okay,
kinds of things.
so including a chart.
So I think a pie chart would be helpful.
Okay.
On Thursday, when I chaired the IAC meeting, we talked about making sure we had this cross-referenced so that both subcabinets knew what the other was doing, because it's so similar. And what we need to probably do as we look at next year's grant funding is to really make sure we're using the money wisely from both ends. And so we're going to really try to keep track of this.
Yep.
The only thing I could come up better with than the pigs was sort of like a dollar sign,
Okay.
which would mean money
All right.
instead of a piggy bank.
So is there anything missing? Do you feel like there's anything missing from the data or the report itself?
I think Bob had sent you an email that said he thought it was great
Yes.
also.
Yeah, including the training pieces, the identified training needs.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
so
excellent.
if you'll delegate the rest to us to be able to
Yes.
finalize, we'll put in a chart, we'll change out the pigs to a dollar sign. the piggy banks, I should say.
It's very well done.
Great.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
The team did a lot of work on it, so it really came out nice.
When numbers are formatted to the right, I think that makes it easier to read down.
Okay.
When you have tables, in that format.
Got it?
That makes it easier to read down.
Okay. Great.
Spoken from a true finance. All right, very good. Okay, now Dino, we're going to go on to the grants.
Okay,
Let's start with the non-public first.
non-public. The first one is the Crosswood, also known as Pathway School. They're requesting $2,393.60 for funding that will cover the cost of 4 closed-circuit TV cameras to be installed in the facility, the recorder system, the networking, the installation, and the permitting costs.
Are there any questions about this particular grant, Crossroads, which is really the Pathway School? All right, do we have a motion to approve it? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries for the Crossroads grant. Next is Maryland School for the Deaf.
Maryland School
No,
for the Deaf.
I'm going to recuse myself from self-managed discussion because I'm counsel to the school.
Got it.
They requested comprehensive safety evaluation for both of their campuses. We will utilize the funding for a contract for turnkey safety and security assessment of both Columbia and Frederick campuses. Chosen vendor will access all staff, administrators, facilities, research historical data, policies, plans, guidelines, and along with previous safety and security assessments completed in the past years to put together a comprehensive assessment for them to make a roadmap for themselves to go forward and what they need to have a plan. It's 2 campuses, it would be a total of $10,000.
Is that pretty much par what the other schools, public schools were spending?
They were $7,500 a week. A
Okay,
campus.
all right. Well, it seems to be a logical step for them to do this. Any questions on this one? All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Got it. All right, we're going to move on to Garrett County Public Schools.
Can I ask, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I have a question that I came up while I was reading everything. Several of our applicants have asked for money, and then they've said there's a category that they're trying to meet, that they want this money for a specific category. I'm looking at the page that Montgomery County Public Schools listed. I assume it's a Maryland Center for School Safety form. It's for the 2020 Safe School Grants, and then 7 is the proposal category. Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Are you looking on their actual application?
It is in their
Or even on
application.
our, is it this one here?
No,
On
it's like
our
this.
summary? Okay, yeah, that's our actual application.
So I was curious, for example, for 7.3, it says they're asking for grants for conducting school safety evaluations. Is that for, to me, that would mean someone comes in, they take a look and they say, okay, you need new cameras. Is it also for us to pay for new cameras?
Well, I don't know, I guess we have to go back and ask. I don't,
Do you mean is the category?
Yes.
oh, the category.
Yes, they have, they've not,
okay.
their paperwork does not say, we want to do an evaluation. Theirs may say something like, we've done an evaluation, our evaluator says we need new cameras, and so we want to fund new cameras. So, does that meet this category 3 school safety evaluation criteria? I'm really asking for if someone later comes in and said, well, no, that money was just to evaluate. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is the money to evaluate and to satisfy the condition, or is it just for evaluation?
So the way we've broken it out on, if you look at the overview sheets for each of the grants, we've actually recategorized them if we feel that they're in not the correct category.
Okay.
And there really is nothing that's specific to equipment purchase, with the exception of, in the evaluation piece, it says you can purchase equipment to conduct evaluations. So we've placed all of those under a category called general safety. So not specific to one of the 10 categories that are outlined in the safety monitor.
Okay, so
So
someone
cameras,
could,
radios,
so even though the applicant may have said, we think it fits in this category, your staff will have said, okay, we recognize that you have the need, but it doesn't fit in there, it fits
in
somewhere
this,
else.
somewhere else.
Okay, all right. That saves me a lot of time later on, thank you.
Go ahead.
Garrett County?
Yes, please.
Okay. Garrett County. The first project they requested for is outfitting their SRO offices in safe rooms. Money will be utilized to equip space designated for a assigned school resource officer located in proximity to their main offices and front entrances. Additionally, one facility has what has been identified as a hardened space where staff and students may take shelter and where identified staff will be trained in use of the CCTV system and communication system they have in place to use with responding law enforcement if the need arises. Equipment includes computer and server for operating the video cameras, a large screen monitor, panic hardware for notifying the 911 center of an emergency, and access control hardware and locks for securing that room. Grant funds will also be used to train school administrators and staff on how to activate and operate the safe room in an emergency. SOPs will be established, standard operating procedures.
So I have a question. Apparently, they're going to do 6 of these rooms, and how many kids do they hold? And I've never heard of this before, the safe room concept.
I've heard of safe room concept. It's normally in a residence or a small facility.
Exactly. So how do you do it in a high school of the size of Southern High School? We need more information on that. I'm not ready to approve the money for that. There are so many issues with that in terms of, they say it's a hardened room. Is there, again, we have to balance student safety against, I just really would have a lot of questions about that. Do we have any other school systems that have ever used this before?
Not that I know of.
I don't think so. It has not come up.
Maybe the cafeteria.
So I would need a lot more information about what that looks like. Anybody else have other questions about any?
I was just thinking the only, if you're talking about a high school of any size, the only 2 places is probably the cafeteria or the gymnasium, or an auditorium if they have one. And you'd have to harden that so that if people got in, that it would be safer than just leaving the premises. But
All those rooms you just mentioned are all going to have multiple entrances and exits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we need more information.
Yeah.
Because it begs the question of if it's small, who do you put in there?
Right.
And who doesn't get in there?
Exactly.
This may be for students with disabilities who it would be very difficult for them to exit the school
Now
system.
that makes sense.
But it could say that, it should say that.
I don't think that's what it's for, Carol, but
Okay.
you're right. That would be one. It's still a very odd thing. So, and I've been to Southern High School a number of times, and I'm trying to visualize what that would look like.
But isn't the protocol to get out of the building? I mean, isn't that really?
Well, it depends.
That's right.
Depends on the scenario. So, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd like to hold that on that one, if anybody has any, until our next meeting, and then we
Sure.
can,
Good idea.
The whole grant or just that piece?
the whole grant.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead with Cecil County.
Raptor Technology.
Cecil County, requested project number 1, Raptor Technology Visitor Management, Volunteer Management, and Emergency Management System. The system will provide the county schools with the ability to screen and track everyone coming into their buildings while keeping unwanted entrants out. The volunteer management system will provide the county schools with the ability to manage a team of volunteers effectively and efficiently without following the time-intensive processes that are currently they use. The request for that project is $77,750. Project number 2, Enforce 911. It's a pre-911 call notification system that provides employees with the ability to receive notifications of a danger or crisis situation in real time before 911 calls are issued. This technology can assist in launching a response sooner in this building itself where an incident may be taking place. Enforce 911 is a chat portal that allows school employees to communicate directly with police during an emergency, which will streamline the flow of information and potentially shorten response times. They're requesting $40,400 for that program.
Carl, do you know anything about that?
I was just gonna say, I've never heard of this.
You know, I
don't know how it
guess,
shortens response times. I get the ability to communicate, but I'm not sure what that manner is. It's not hopping on our radio system.
you know, what I'm starting to see in some of these grant applications is a lot of the commercial products that are being floated around and about. So I just think we need to, as a school safety subcabinet, really scrutinize these because, you know, these, I don't know. I'm amazed at what people are devising and what they're selling. And I'm not sure that it is, you know, effective. So I would just have concerns about that.
Do we have any idea if anybody else has used this system? Like, I don't even recognize what you're describing.
And then I know of.
Enforce 911.
All right,
How would we preempt the 911 call?
Well, that's what I don't
understand
It's
that
a chat portal.
either.
Yeah, I think we need more information about that, because then you go into the next one, and this is Alertus.
I can tell you from experience, the fire marshal falls under the state police, particularly in the school for the deaf in Columbia. The challenges of equipping a school with a notification system, they use a strobe light system that then they know to go to visual boards to look at those boards. But at the same time, their ability to meet exit demands are challenging, very challenging. So even this specifically says it's for hearing impaired students on the Alertus system, and that's in, I believe, one high school. You know, those challenges are unbelievable and a lot of money.
So you're saying that that's probably a positive thing to do, given the needs of the students?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I would
Okay.
imagine Cecil's small enough, they're channeling them to one school
Right.
to better serve them.
Right.
Shouldn't.
They shouldn't be, but
But-
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Well, then you're doing one school, but you're not doing, I mean,
Please.
Cecil's a small county. You have to think about that.
That's very true.
I mean, what does Cecil have, a couple high schools maybe?
And Cecil's not a small county. Cecil's pretty large compared to the shore counties. If you look at us on the 9-county shore, Cecil's one of the bigger ones, so probably got about 18,000 kids, so they've got 2 or 3 high schools.
The question would be, why are they putting it in one school?
One school, yeah.
So that's a follow-up question. Why one school? Okay, Dina, go on to the next one.
As in the next project for them, or the next?
Yeah,
Okay.
next project.
Project number 4, 3M safety and security window film for 15 building locations. They want to do it indoors, windows, and vestibules. Installation in 15 locations of a window film to create a more effective barrier and slow down an intruder if the glass is compromised. With this film, the glass shatters but remains in place. The glass does not break and does not follow the window frame, allowing for instant access. The product provides Cecil County Public School staff additional time to react, notify, and respond in the event of a crisis situation. This will help them upgrade our glass to code for a fraction of the cost as opposed to replacing it with tempered or other retrofit safety solutions.
Is this the stuff that Great Mills put in?
Yes.
Very popular.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
They're requesting $44,552 for that project. Project number 5, Motorola BPR 40 Mag 1 radios. They're to be used to facilitate more effective and widespread communication access in the buildings and provide enhanced overall building communication and security. Money will be used to purchase radios for many of the schools to replace ones that are no longer effective in large block wall buildings and ones that are either in disrepair or have become completely unusable. They're requesting 200 radios at $199 per radio, and that cost for that project is $39,800. Project number 6, Midland NOAA emergency weather alert radios. They want to update the weather alert radios in all their building locations. Schools will require each building to have a working weather radio in all their offices and is monitored throughout the day. The request for that project is $1,280.
Can I ask, is that something that schools, I want to know if schools use it. Also, I'm a little puzzled that they say they've had them, but they don't use them, or they don't know where they are.
But they have not been maintained like they should through the years. It's most places I find it. Most schools do have a NOAA alert radio, weather alert radio, because when the National Weather Center or National Weather Service does put out like a tornado alert in certain small areas, they'll notify that area in general and it sets that radio off so the staff can hear it.
It's used frequently.
Project number 7, Student Support Center Equipment, Materials, and Training, Nonviolent Crisis Intervention Training for Behavioral Support Technicians, also known as PBIS. Student support technicians will be trained in NCI to give them skills and confidence to safely and effectively de-escalate and respond to anxious, hostile, or violent behavior should it arise in the school building or student support center. This includes training materials for a mind-up curriculum, self-regulation, social thinking worksheets, etc. They're requesting $11,215 for that project. Project number 8, Nonviolent Crisis Intervention Train the Trainer. It's the CPI conference, Train the Trainer for the behavioral coach to become an NCI certified, training for the new instructional coach for behavior to be a certified trainer. This is requesting $3,000 for that program or project. And I apologize, I misnumbered when I was doing these. New project 8, old project 13 on the list. Dell laptops for student support technicians. The support technicians to track student data, implement online social emotional curriculum, and interface with the Alertus technology for crisis notification. Student support technicians will utilize devices to track student data, implement online social emotional curriculum to de-escalate students preventing crisis situations. These devices will also interface with the 2 other projects in the very beginning to alert staff and or law enforcement of potential crisis situation.
So let's hold that one with the other 2.
I have one question. While
Yes,
we're,
Senator.
On the Motorola radios, I noticed in the support documentation, it mentions 160 radios, and on the sheet that we're considering, it's 200 radios. Is there a reason?
There should be more radios in this program. That was the one that was driving us bonkers that day, numbers wise.
So I was just, when I was preparing for the meeting, I read the support data, which is supposedly the justification for it. It says they were talking about 160 instead of 200. So you all decided they needed 200? Is that the idea?
No.
No.
We'll have to go back and double check on that. Since we're going back on the
It
other
is,
3
yeah,
areas.
it is 200. But we'll go back and double check
I'm just looking,
on
it
that.
says Motorola Mag 1 radios, 160 at $199, $31,840. And
And this says 200 at $199.
Yeah, and then there's confusion in their budget sheet, so, yeah, we'll go back
There
and
are 2
double
different
check
places
that
for the
amount.
MAG 1. On their support document, there's page 5. Near the bottom is Motorola MAG radios for the behavioral support technicians to communicate. And then when
is
you
it
go
in two
to...
places? Is it in 2 places? Is that the idea?
What they're trying to, it looks like what they're trying to do is acquire enough radios for everybody to have one that they feel needs one.
196. Yeah, that's the one he's looking at.
All right, well, let's just
Okay.
get clarification on it, since it
Yep.
sounds like we're not sure.
Okay, the next project down will be professional development for student support technicians, responsive individualized instructional environment teachers. Participants will receive professional development provided by Trans Ed Alliance on use of the Reaching Independence Through Structured Education, RISE program. They're requesting $5,000 for that project. Next project down would be professional development for the new threat assessment model. 50 participants will receive direct instruction to learn processes and implementation of threat assessments. This professional development will be provided by Jillian Simon, supervised staff school psychologist within the school system, and they're requesting $3,240 for that project.
Dina, let's go back and look up that RISE program. I'm not familiar with that at all.
2 spots.
That would be on page 6 of their supplemental document. Professional development for student support technicians or responsive individualized structured environment teachers.
Doesn't really say much, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You know, are these the folks that are using these people as, remember, who was it that we discussed last month, that were using folks to police the area, but they weren't SROs and they were like aides?
No, that was on the East Shore.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
The Lower Shore.
Right, because I haven't heard this term before. We've heard it now in a couple of the different grant things, these computer technicians. Student support technicians. That's a new one. I think we would ask for a description of what that position does. And then we can perhaps go around and approve the ones that we are more sure of and let them get back to us on those other areas. And you can summarize that at the end when you get through all the rest of the requests. Which is what? That was it, right? Okay. So if I'm correct, we are getting more information on the In-Force 911, the Alertus program, finding out the number of radios really required.
I withdraw that. I found the other 40.
Oh,
They were
okay.
in 2 spots.
Okay, all
They were
right.
2 places, so
All right.
I'm sorry, I didn't
That's all
read far
right.
enough.
That's all right. Never mind the radio then. And also the laptops for the student support technician. We also need a description of what that
You
position
want the job
does.
description? Yep.
And the professional development for RISE, more description about what that program is. And then if there is a motion, we can approve all the rest of it without those included. So what's your pleasure?
I'll move that.
All right, so there's a motion to approve all but the ones I mentioned to get more information about. Do we have a second for that motion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, and because we've done that, I'd like to go back to Garrett County and walk through there so that we're doing the same thing with everybody. So we kind of stopped after we got into the safe room discussion. So let's go on to the youth mental health first aid training.
Okay, their project number 2 is Youth Mental Health First Aid Training. This project will provide training for 200 staff and cover the cost of stipends, fixed costs, and trainers for training staff at both high and middle schools. $44,701.88. Their project number 3, Adult Identity Mentoring Project AIM, will cover the cost of 2 staff trained in the Project AIM program. This is a group-level youth development intervention designed to reduce sexual risk behaviors among youth ages 11 to 14 by providing them with the motivation to make safe choices to address deeper barriers to sexual risk prevention, i.e. hopelessness, poverty, risk opportunities in low-income environments. They're requesting $8,234.42 for that project. Project number 4, Positive Behavioral Intervention System, PBIS. This project will cover training costs to train additional staff members in the PBIS program to assist students with making correct choices in behavior. Request for that project is $27,269.45. Project number 5, Restorative Practices Training. Project will provide training materials to PBIS teams within the schools in restorative practices, as well as continued consultation from University of Maryland, on program evaluation of implementation. The request for that project is $11,269.03. Project 6, Mental Health Wraparound Services. Project will provide additional mentoring and tutoring services to identified youth. For that project, they're requesting $27,046.68. And project number 7, titled Ripple Effects. The project will fund software licensing for use in the Ripple Effects program. This program is evidence-based, learner-directed program in trauma-informed care that will be used to assist in grade and behavior improvement. And they're requesting $34,267.96 for that.
Questions on the other aspects of their grant? I was just looking up the stuff on ripple effects. It's not, again, one I am familiar with.
Yeah, I have questions about that too.
It is, it's the name of the product and the entity.
Would every student use this, or is it for a specific group of students?
Yeah, I'm looking to find
Okay.
it.
So it includes both,
48 schools. Okay, maybe it's right.
That's Carroll in Malone County. This is Garrett, right?
Page 5 of the supplemental document, Goal 5. The ripple effects is mentioned in students identified with specific social skills deficits. So it would be identified students.
Yeah, so it'll be for everybody.
What page is that on?
Page 5, listed as goal number 5.
anybody that has a machine, there's a link to ripple effects
Oh, I see it.
in the,
Okay. Seems like they referenced it as evidence-based. That's correct.
$3,400 per school for this program, is that
Yes.
like the going rate?
For a license.
Okay.
Software licensing, yes.
It sounds pretty expensive.
But maybe I have to think
Well,
about
I guess
each
we can't
student, yeah.
question anything, but it's interesting, these, we were talking about the hard rooms. So it says that it sounds like they already have it.
so they already have the SRO office, right? That they're currently using as what they call a safe room,
They made the cut.
but they're looking to do upgrades to it.
Yeah.
When you read the safe room, it looks almost like an interior command center.
Well, that's exactly what I was
Like an
thinking it
EOC.
was.
Yeah. So they can have access, control, cameras, communications, everything else, without fear of being compromised by somebody breaching
Yeah,
it.
that's a big step in terms of school safety. I mean, I've not seen that anywhere. That's, wow. That's what I thought it was. But then it also leads you to believe that you're going to put the kids in there. It says, 6 rooms strategically located in Southern High School will be dedicated to providing a safe space to shelter students and staff, monitor all 90 security cameras, have a dedicated phone line to the 911 center, a panic button to instantly notify the 911 center of an emergency, and a school-wide public address system to keep people informed of an incident in real time. These rooms are hardened with CMU walls, heavy wooden doors, access control, and a manual door locking system. The plan is to use grant funds to train all staff in the school on how to activate and operate the safe room. Doesn't say rooms in an emergency situation. That is really, wow. Okay, so back to this one. Does anybody have any motions to support the rest of their requests except for the very first one, like we just did with Cecil County? In other words, we would keep the outfitting of SRO offices and safe rooms until we get more information.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, I just realized I wasn't going in the right order of the agenda. I was going in the order of my pile.
That's all right, but I have these tabs, see, so
I apologize. So I'll go back to the agenda and make sure I'm doing it correctly.
That's right.
I don't know why, I just,
Proves my cognitive skills.
well, okay, all right. So let's check off that we've done Cecil and Garrett.
Before they started coming in with requests, how to solve their issues.
Well, last year we had the school safety evaluation grant.
Okay.
And a lot of the jurisdictions are taking that as the base, and they're trying to see where they've gone with what they've done from that in this previous year since then, to evaluate what else they need to do in the future.
Security.
Several of the jurisdictions have asked for evaluations again in this grant process.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Project 1-2, safety supplies, med sleds. They would like to purchase 174 additional med sleds at a cost of $402 a sled. These are to assist in the removal of non-ambulatory individuals for all schools. They would also like to purchase safety vests. These safety vests are worn during emergency response to identify their designated incident commander, public safety liaisons, accountability coordinator, facility access coordinator, and supplies coordinator. They'd like to purchase 100 additional vests in that category. The med sleds, that portion of the request is $69,948. The safety vests, $2,785. Project 2-1, social emotional learning ambassadors. They would like to implement an SEL ambassador program in all their middle and high schools. 2 employees from each middle and high school will devote 45 hours to the SEL ambassadors program to assist students. Let me sign that one here. The stipends for that program on their budget sheet are $151,819. Project 2-2, Mind Over Matter. Funding requested will provide Mind Over Matter programs that enhance social emotional learning and mental health supports for students, especially middle high school students, along with transportation and associated costs for provision of a full-day summit. The school system will sponsor 2 youth summits related to Mind Over Matter initiatives that will reach at least 1,250 students in middle and high schools. 1 summit will be held on a Saturday, which will include middle and high school students, teachers, administrators, and parents. The second summit to be held during the school day will be mainly students. Let's see, Mind Over Matter. The stipends for the Mind Over Matter portion are $14,598. For the summit, they have giveaways listed at $2,000. Speaker costs for the Mind Over Matter, 2 different summits at $5,000 each, so it would be $10,000. The venue fees, $1,000 each time, so that's $2,000. They have Mind Over Matter food, $10 a person, $1,250. We determined this is not for staff or anything like that. These are for the students who are attending because they will be away from their normal schools and away from their normal ability for their lunches and everything else. And then transportation services for the, no, that's a different one, okay.
What's this one here? 4,800.
Transportation for mind over matters, 4,800. There's two different transportation ones, that's why. The other part of that project, mind over matter, monthly focused topics, funding requests will provide subscription-based topics for staff to use in the following items covered in previously listed the summits. Topics include suicide awareness, bullying prevention, deleting negativity, coping skills, mental and physical wellness, healthy love, self-care, grief, substance abuse, and pride. That would be listed in section 5 under MOM monthly focus topics, $20,000. Project 3.1, human sex trafficking awareness. Funding will cover costs of trainer and teacher stipends in human sex trafficking awareness. And that was listed in number 1 of personnel in their budget, $19,464 for the stipends. And the speaker for that is listed under number 6 contractual, that'd be $2,500. 3.2 curriculum, Cloud 9 World Curriculum. Provide new curricula that improves school climate and safety for students. They would like to purchase the Cloud 9 World Curriculum to enhance character development. This curriculum uses literacy to teach social emotional learning competencies to an understanding of self and others. And Cloud 9, that curriculum is $30,000 based on their budget sheet. And Teen Intervene curriculum in the same program there. Provide new curricula that improves school climate and safety for students. They would like to purchase the Teen Intervene curriculum, which decreases substance abuse among students. Teen Intervene curriculum is $15,000. Project 3.3, prevention and response trainings. They would like to continue doing what they've adopted the ALICE training and recertification for their staff and employees. So they would like to train new employees and recertify those already trained. They would also like to do the Stop the Bleed training, which they've started doing, and that will be providing material and training to enhance student safety and climate to 1,200 employees. And the SOS support materials, suicide prevention materials to implement the program in all middle and high schools. More than 1,000 school employees were trained in the SOS techniques designed to increase suicide awareness and prevent self-harm. This would provide the booklets, pamphlets, and folders for that program. So for the ALICE, looks like a total of $11,500 for the instructor and the recertification, another $100 to $11,600. From there. Stop the Bleed, $77,856. That would be the stipends to train the employees. And the SOS support materials, $545 per school, 55 schools, $29,975. That would be listed under number 5 supplies in their budget. Project 4.1, Collaborative for Academic Social Emotional Learning, or known as CASEL, National Consortium. This will provide site visits to prepare a comprehensive report and consultation and maximize their SEL readiness and effectiveness. National Consortium, that would cost of $50,000. Stipends for all, that's the ambassadors in this regard. Project 4.2, contractual project administrator. We'd like to hire a project coordinator, who will work with the principal investigator, grant director, and other project leaders to coordinate the initiatives in this grant. The coordinator will be paid a salary but not receive health benefits.
Is that typical to other jurisdictions too, that they hire administrators for their grants, or just if you have a very large
This is the first one,
grant?
I think, has hired
Yeah, this is-
somebody.
So this is a project administrator, this is the first one we've seen.
Yeah,
Is there a percentage of the grant that can be designated to that, or?
no,
Usually we're disallowing
yeah.
salaries.
So we were disallowing indirect costs, which are to administer the grant itself. This is requesting an individual to administer the projects within the grant. So there's a potential crossover, but you know, if you have one person who's tasked to ensure that all of these things are delivered, the argument could be made that that's a project manager, not a grant administrative manager.
Yeah, I just think it's probably not a good road to go down, because somebody's going to say, well, you know, we were told not to hire staff to do this, and then all of a sudden we allow this, so, you know, I'm not in favor of allowing that particular item. I mean, they've got enough administrative staff, they should be able to put off a piece of this
Manage
to
the
that
project.
person, right?
Okay, continuing on. Other supplies and materials. Materials that requested will be aligned with the SEO, MOM, and SOS programs. And you review their budget. You're looking at see what they have it listed. Anti-campaign bullying was 18,246. Then I got the mom. SEL.
That's where they grouped in all their anti-bullying campaign supplies, their mom giveaways, and any of the other materials that weren't already identified.
The next project down is translation services. 5 languages. They're looking at $10,000 for 5 different languages at each, so it'd be $50,000 to do the translation. I do know they've started doing it in the Spanish language last year, and they have identified 5 other languages that are primarily within their system that they also need to do translation services for.
For what are they translating?
Most of the materials that they're handing out, the ALICE, the other programs that they've got supplies
So
for.
it's not other curriculum materials or anything else that they would normally need to do out of their general budget?
Not that they've identified, that I could see.
I can't see it in the
Yeah.
supporting documents.
And I can go back and ask,
Yeah, I would just want to check that it's
Okay.
related to the trainings
No.
and safety.
And not regular instruction.
Right.
Okay.
and then they broke out fixed costs at a cost of $28,928.
And that's for the trainings?
Yes, so the identified under personnel.
Okay.
For the stipends, with the exception of the contractual position that they are not paying benefits and additional costs for.
You know, I must have missed this. What are the school attendance billboards? Is that to say?
Sorry?
I see listed under contractual, school attendance billboards.
Back to their program.
on that bill.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not loading for me.
Can I ask a question while we're in
Yes,
hiatus
please
here?
do.
The fixed charges, the 28,000, just rough and ready, that's paying Social Security and workers' comp on about $360,000 worth of salaries. I'm looking to find where they are in here.
The salaries?
Yeah.
It's under the stipends.
So it's
The
number one
personnel?
person.
So, okay, so I wasn't too far off, it's 338,000. But I didn't know what we were we funding?
Fixed, yes.
Yeah.
Indirect, no.
Not indirect,
Okay,
though.
all right.
It's hard to keep that straight, because I
It really
always
is.
question myself, too. Because I know we've
If
made
you
that
assume these
decision.
are individuals and these are not full-time
Right.
gigs, so I guess you gotta pay
Yeah, you
the
do.
workers' comp and the social security. Okay.
So I don't see it in here. I'm continuing to look, so I guess we'll have to double check.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so to summarize, since that was very, having to go back and forth was kind of hard on that one.
Big one.
It is, and it's a big one, it's 800 and some $1,000, so. So I think we said that we were concerned about the project coordinator on this one. Was there anything else that people wanted, and additionally to find out?
On the translation.
what-
Translation.
Yeah, what that is. Anything else that you want to pull out of here before we make a motion?
I would like to know more about the school attendance billboards.
Yep.
You know,
Okay.
why don't we just pull that out? I mean, Baltimore County School System can afford 15 grand if they want to encourage people to come to school. I mean, is anybody else doing this?
I don't know what they are.
Well, that's why I mean, maybe there is some goal to like have kids go to school more often and therefore, but I just can't feel.
Well, let's find out what they are, and then we can always come back and do that. So with those things pulled out, do we have a motion to approve the rest of the grant?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, super.
More likely to go to school.
All right, let's go to Caroline County, and this is part 2.
Caroline County Part 2. Project number 1, Part 2, trauma-informed classrooms. Funding will cover the following costs: professional development, consulting services, materials, and text for professional development and trauma-informed care, requesting $41,903. Project number 2, youth mental health first aid. Funding will cover training of 40 teachers. The stipends for fixed costs in youth mental health first aid, $8,640. Project number 3, FlySense for secondary schools technology. Funding will provide for installation and associated software required for the FlySense vaping detection program. Units will be installed in designated areas of secondary schools and alert administrators and staff of the use of vaping products by students. They're requesting $31,380 for that project.
Are they in use in Maryland schools?
This
Or is
would
this the
think would be
first?
the first one.
Yeah, this is another one of those things that I would recommend pulling out of the grant.
I'm okay with that.
I thought it was like a smoking in the boys' room.
Well, it
Particularly
is.
when they say it
Exactly
can
right.
detect both vaping and bullying. I'm like,
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing product, isn't it?
I thought I saw an article that Oklahoma was doing this at $1,000 per unit. So, you know, if there was a cost per unit that we knew.
I don't know.
Okay, so it's not-
I would certainly want to have much more documentation before we would approve this.
I'm only thinking about the coasters, fee, 5, fum, I smell smoke in the auditorium.
You got it? What year was that, Senator?
It was the coasters, 1957.
what color was the label on the 45? That's what I would really know.
I think it was orange.
All right.
Okay, moving to
So,
project number
right
4.
along.
So, to answer your question, I apologize, it is 30 units at $995
Yeah, you were
apiece.
really pretty much on it, yeah.
Yeah, you're right there.
With software, about $500 a package.
Yeah.
And
It's just interesting because, I mean, it's no different than monitoring for smoking.
Right.
Is it a statement that Maryland's making, right, no vaping for students?
Well, we
Yes.
don't want them doing it anyway.
Yeah.
We don't want them smoking either, so I mean, I don't know. You just, and again, it's
You
the
see it.
commercialization of school safety that's happening across the country. And I just heard of something at IAC last Thursday about some kind of a fencing technique that, it's not an actual fence, but it's an electronic fence that detects all kinds of things. And one school system is doing it to their whole campus, and I'm like, well, let's see how that works first before we implement that in Maryland. So anyway, there's
So
a
you have
lot
to
of
equip
that.
everybody with electric collars,
Yes,
so when they go
exactly.
across the
So
thing,
they go across,
they get zapped.
It's just like with your, yes.
Invisible fence, right?
It's the invisible fence.
Great.
It's a great country or what?
To project 4. Security cameras and DVR units. The funding will allow enhancement of their CCTV capabilities by adding cameras and DVR units to handle additional coverage within secondary schools. They're requesting $89,405.25 for that project.
It's the biggest part of the grant.
Project number 5, emergency management software for the Raptor system. Funding will allow the purchase and installation of emergency management software platform to enhance the Raptor system currently utilized by the school system, $18,600 for that. Project number 6, training on the Care to Be threat assessment program. Funding will allow the school psychologists to receive training in the Care to Be threat assessment model. This model is found to be evidence-based and accounts for differences in age and gender. They're requesting $1,499 for that. Total request so far, part 2, is $191,877.25. And that will be added to the first part they did, which is still
This
waiting
is
for
the-
details.
If you recall, the first part that they submitted was for Social Sentinel. So we've requested additional information from them, which we have not received. So they're considering resubmitting for that.
Now, what was that again?
It was a social media monitoring system.
That's right, that's the one where they would get a code word and,
The word bomb, the word shot, the word gun.
like the kid that's playing basketball and made a great
Correct.
shot.
Would show up, correct?
Yes.
And someone would have to review that.
Right. Okay. All right, so do we have a motion on this grant in some way, shape, or form?
So we approve everything except for project 3, which is the license. Maybe my motion.
I'm good with that. Do we have a second for that motion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. That means everyone, all the other projects are approved with the exception of FlySense. Okay? All right. Let me try that again. We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're good to go on that. Okay, now we're down to Howard County.
Carol.
Carroll
I think we
County.
missed Carol.
You're right, I did not check Carroll County. Sorry about that. Carroll County, and it's actually next in my pile too, so. Go ahead,
Okay.
Dino.
Their project number 1, at-risk students conference in November. We would like to hold a conference of evidence-based programs, strategies that educators can use to prevent dropouts and to help students experience success in schools by recognizing at-risk students because they exhibit ongoing disciplinary problems, impulsive behavior, truancy issues, or have become frustrated and disengaged. They would like to send 5 members of staff. This includes registration, airfare, lodging, food, and ground transportation. They're requesting $10,088 for this. Project number 2, at-risk students conference in June. And another same format, evidence-based program for the same topics as discussed in the first part. This we sent 13 additional staff members to this conference in June. again, including the registration, airfare, lodging, food, and ground transportation for the conference attendance. The request is $29,323. Project number 3, restorative practice training. Restorative practice is focused on strengthening relationships between individuals as well as social connections within communities. They would like to send 9 staff members to this training. This would include registration, transportation, lodging, and ground transportation and food, $18,894. Project number 4, emergency threat scenario training. Training will give staff short and long action scenarios with the 4 common response protocols: lockdown, lockout, shelter in place, and evacuation, as well as reunification. The cost for this scenario training was $8,120. Project number 5, behavioral threat assessment training and consultation. Threat assessment training is a practical and effective set of guidelines for schools to use in responding to threats of violence. They're using the Cornell model. They'd like to train 50 staff members. This would include training manuals, and an associate from the Cornell group to come and train those staff. $7,500 for that training. They had an additional $1,000 added for something else, but that's been moved out of that category and moved to a different project. Project number 6, school emergency triage training, or known as SET, provides school nurses with the knowledge, skills, and training resources to lead school-based disaster response teams, perform triage in response to mass casualty incidents. They'd like to train 54 school nurses, and that would include their wages and registration, $13,211. Project number 7, Stop the Bleed training. Provide training in the use of bleeding control measures by non-medical personnel. They'd like to train their 40 of their nurses, $10,105. Stop the Bleed training kits provides training used in the Stop the Bleed kit for non-medical personnel. These are training kits used to train everybody else, so that 40 nurses would become trainers. They would in turn train the rest of the staff in the school system using these training kits. $37,000 for that. The following project number 9 are Stop the Bleed kits. These are the actual kits that will be secured in the facilities for use in case of an incident. $7,722.
Are there items in those kits that might expire, or is it just bandages,
The
tourniquets?
2 that have expiration dates are usually the actual tourniquets themselves. They have a 5-year expiration, normal places, and if they use a medical clotting, blood clotting agent impregnated, those have usually a 5-year shelf also.
5 years.
Project 10, CPR training. They wish to provide school staff and counselors to expand the number of on-site individuals trained. So they would train 6 nurses. This would be the cost for registration and class books, $2,924. Train the trainer. They would like to train 3 nurses as trainers in CPR. So they would then have in-house CPR trainers after this. Training provided to the school and staff counselors to expand the number of on-site trained individuals, $949 for those 3 nurses for the course costs. Project 12, Sources of Strength Training, SOS, is a best practice youth suicide prevention program designed to harness the power of peer social networks to change unhealthy norms and culture, ultimately hopefully preventing suicide, bullying, and substance abuse. They would like to train 40 staff members. Cost to host the training, staff wages for 24 people, and SOS training kits, $46,087. And you'll see there, $2,000 was removed to go to another project. Project 13, SRO training. They would like to provide their SROs with advanced NASRO training for their SROs, supervisory training for SRO supervisors, and training in the use of the I Love You Guys program. Cost for that project is $24,103. Project number 14, CARE 2 assessments. The CARE 2 risk and needs assessment measures risk factors based or associated with youth violence, as well as protective factors and developed by Dr. Catherine Seifert. It's one of the leading experts in the field of multi-victim violence, bullying, trauma, and mental health-related violence in the United States. They're requesting $899 for that program. Project 15, AED units. 3 sites in the school system have been identified as needing AED units due to the sensitive nature of students in these areas, $14,376. Project 16, Incident Command Vest. The vest will allow for quick identification of key members of the ICS staff, transportation team, and crisis counselors during a critical incident. ICS staff vest will be placed in the school's go bags, $7,110. Project 17, School Security Personnel Jackets. Off-duty law enforcement working security at ethnic events, this age and identification during a critical incident, they're asking $780. Project 18, Forensic Video System. Installation of security cameras at the CCPS outdoor school and other sites and implementation of Gen-Tech clearance video case management for the entire school system. Request for that project is $3,600. Project 19, Door Intercoms. Install intercom systems at all the door entrances, school entrances, $57,800. Project 20, additional school security equipment. Funding will be utilized to add additional cameras, access control, and other equipment. $22,220. Should also be noted that the extra $3,000 for other items that were in it, projects 5 and 12, have been moved over to this category to help fund this category.
Yeah, when they submitted their application, Project 5 and Project 12 both included food for staff, and we asked them to move those funds.
And then Project 21, fixed costs, $3,990. Total requested, $26,801, which is also their same total allocation allowed.
So I noted that there is no documentation of what this conference is. When you look at both of them together, it's over $40,000 for a very small amount of staff. And I would really like to know more about this conference because my experience tells me that it is probably not the best way to spend money with that few people attending. So I would just like to see more information on that. Other concerns or questions from any other of the members on any of these other grants? Kim?
I just had a question about the command vest, and I noticed that another county, their head vest that they were purchasing. Is there a uniformity across the state of Maryland? So regardless of what jurisdiction your student was in?
They should be following the National Incident Management Systems information. So command would be a blue vest with the incident commander on it. You would have, was it EMS is orange? They have vests and they
standard
coloring for
Okay, and every jurisdiction purchases from that same. I apologize.
They should be.
Well versed in all
Well,
of
it's probably a
this.
good thing to remind them of.
Yes.
So
Okay.
good thing to bring out, Kim, because those are things, we don't want them, picking out something that is
Or making
The school
assumptions.
colors.
school, exactly, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah, that's
So,
fine.
good point.
I was just
It should be
wondering.
uniform, because, you may be, there's another team coming to your school with different parents, different people, so it should be standardized.
Right, and if students transfer between jurisdictions
Exactly.
in Maryland,
They know
they
who-
know what to expect.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Good point. Other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
Without the,
Without the conferences?
So without Project 1 and 2?
Yes. All right, so we have a motion to fund the entire grant except for Project 1 and 2, the conferences, till we have more information. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll go to Howard County.
Okay. Howard County, project number 1, replacement of the lobby guard system. Funding will allow replacement of the outdated visitor management system for screening and registering visitors to the schools. Request for that project is $126,133. Project number 2, training of behavioral threat assessment teams. Funding will allow contracted training of personnel in behavioral threat assessment. In addition to the use of the Cornell model, the system plans to incorporate use of the Secret Service threat assessment model. They're requesting $40,000 for that project. Project number 3, Motorola two-way radio enhancement. implementation of a system-wide two-way radio coverage plan to correspond with future and current Howard County Public School System emergency operations plans. They're requesting $198,000 for that project. Project number 4, production of a system-wide emergency operations plan. Two-phase plan for creation of a system-wide EOP. Phase 1, they will hire a contractor to design and implement an expansion of the emergency planning. That cost is $126,500. Phase 2 is community outreach during plan revision and for portions of the new EOP that can be made public to stakeholders, $19,500. So for that project, a total of $146,000 is requested. Their total request is $510,133, and their total allocation is $510,133.
So Dino, talk to me about contractors for emergency planning. Is that another group of people that are out there selling services, or why would you have to have a contractor to do this?
Normally, because they don't have the time or the in-house expertise to do that. There are consulting companies out there that do that.
So what are they going to do?
So they're required, so once the Department of Education updates the emergency planning guidelines, every school system has to update all of their emergency plans for all of their schools by August, which is a heavy lift. So the center will have to review 1,428 approximately EOPs. So the concern for Howard County is that they will not be able to update the EOPs for all of their schools by the August 1st deadline. So they need to hire somebody to come in and do it full-time.
Well, they're not the only large school system.
Correct.
And there aren't any other requests like this.
Correct.
Well, I mean, I don't know how does the Montgomery County get it done?
How were initial plans put into place?
Hmm?
How were the initial plans put into place, or was that done by a contractor? The ones that are being updated?
I can't speak for every school in Maryland. I would suspect most were done in-house, but I do suspect some may have been done with contractors.
Is your team going to have sufficient capacity to review all these
That is
plans?
a very good question.
Maybe you
That might-
need to
Our
hire
team-
the consultant.
Our team may actually be struggling a bit. The one thing about the Safe to Learn Act is, although it says we need to review them, it doesn't say by when. Knock on wood. So we have a little bit of time, hopefully, and I suspect once the recommendations come out or the new guidelines come out, there won't be drastic changes. So hopefully it'll just be minor updates that they have to give.
Is this
they have to
something
make.
like an economy of scale that would be needed for the entire state of Maryland, or just Howard, specific Howard County?
I suspect all of them are going to be struggling as it gets closer, and a lot of that will depend. Actually, we'll be having a discussion on the emergency planning guidelines that are being updated in the December meeting. So without actually seeing them in front of me, I don't have an answer to how big the lift will be until I see what their changes in the guidelines might be. I know the Safe to Learn Act is requiring them to include behavioral threat assessments, planning for students with disabilities, so for some of them, it may be a heavy lift.
Well, there's not a lot of detail in the actual applications. It's on page 8. I just would like to know more of why they would need that. I mean, I could see it if they just started doing them, but these have been in existence forever.
Right, it's an update.
This is an update. So, I don't know how, I mean, I don't have to be the one to dictate it. If other people feel that it's okay, I'm fine with moving in that
Well,
direction.
Let me just try and look at it from where maybe Howard County's coming from. I mean, it sounds like doing this work isn't really something that's necessarily within the wheelhouse of administrators and principals. It sounds like they're like, I think we've got it, but we need someone who does this full-time.
Yeah, but the guy that runs their whole safety department is the person that used to work in emergency management
In Howard County.
in Howard
Okay,
County.
all right.
So his
Detail out of that.
expertise is probably better than any contractor they're gonna hire.
Well, that information maybe it is worth asking.
So what would a work plan be useful?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great idea. Other questions about any of the other projects?
Do we know the age of the visitor management systems that are being replaced? Do we ask that?
No, we can.
Just, I know that in FY14, there was a lot of 25 million that was for school safety. And that was and I'm not sure if it was Howard County, I didn't look at that, but just be curious that we're not replacing things that were just done 5 years ago, or is the technology that different in these ways with radios and visitor management systems? I was just wondering if we asked that question about age.
This system's only for 14 schools.
Say again.
This price is only for 14 schools.
Correct.
Small percentage of their number of schools.
It's very true. So maybe they did use that money prior.
Do we want to find out?
They are gonna check.
Okay.
So project 1 and project 4. Okay?
So do we have a motion to approve everything but those projects at this point?
So moved.
Second? Senator, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to the next one, which is Kent County.
Kent County. Requesting project number 1, additional security cameras. Funding would enhance what's determined to be blind spots in their current school system cameras system-wide. They're requesting $32,838.02 for that project. Project number 2 would be additional radios system-wide. Would increase portable, mobile, and desk-based stations along with adding uninterrupted power sources for continued use during power outages. Request for that project, $12,539. Project number 3, panic button system. To allow the panic button system to be installed in all their schools within the system, thereby allowing early notification of incidents within each school facility. The system will notify both the local PSAP 911 center as well as the school system security office of issues in a simultaneous fashion. They're asking $9,500 for that project. Project number 4, emergency evacuation equipment. Evaluations of each school facility yielded issues with evacuation of injured persons as well as need for secondary escape ladders. This funding will be utilized to procure evacuation sleds, portable fire escape ladders to assist students and staff in evacuation facilities. Request for that project, $9,928. Project number 5, card reader system additions. Installation of card reader system access to doors previously not having them installed. This will allow teachers the ability to access the doors from the exterior should the need arise. Reading through their program, it looked like most of these doors lead to the outside areas of play areas and recreation areas. Normally, what they have to do is walk all the way around to the front of the school to get these kids inside. This will allow faster access inside the building should need arise. They're requesting $4,000 for that project.
So Dina, this was one of the things I had questions about. So this says grant category 4, which it looks like is for establishing formal anonymous mechanisms for reporting safety concerns with use of technology. But it sounds more like general safety to me, so I just want to understand how you guys came up with category 4.
That was just an error.
Okay. So and that might be true for the next one too then, which seems like a similar type
Yeah,
of
anything
award.
that's equipment related.
All right, thank you.
Project number 6, door locking mechanisms and a door alarm system. Funding would enhance door locking and allow administrators to receive an alarm when a door is propped open. Upon completion of the recent system-wide evaluations, it was noted that several doors within their system do not lock from the interior of the classroom. Additionally, administrators requested the ability to be notified remotely when a door is left propped open. Having been in the school and for a little while, that's a big problem with some of the
It is until you
teachers.
tell people that if they leave them open, they'll be fired, and then it gets quickly fixed.
So for that project, they're requesting $40,489.97.
Sort of low-tech solution.
It is a low-tech solution, but it worked in New York with the high school with 36 doors propped open simultaneously. And I asked the security guy, I said, do you see anything wrong with this? And he looks around and he goes, no. And I said,
You're fired.
it took more than the one day, but.
Project number 7, security mirrors. The program would be used to install security mirrors in hallway blind spots so staff in hallways to observe issues of concern within the hallways not currently visible. They're requesting $1,878.30 for that project.
Are those the things that go up in the corner?
Convex mirrors, yes, sir. And project number 8, exterior security doors. Funding will allow for a replacement of 4 doors found to be insufficient during the FY19 school safety security surveys. They're requesting $13,760 for that project. Project number 9, fencing for 2 school facilities. Funding will allow installation of security fencing on 2 school facilities found during this FY19 survey to be lacking. Fencing would maintain a more secure perimeter and channel visitors to the proper entrances. They're requesting $66.71 for that project. Total requested, $190,999.70. For total allowed allocation, $191,185.
Very cheap.
I just noticed that these are for a lot of equipment, things that might be covered under the IAC program, and yet the other systems have the behavioral. How does Ken handle all those other?
Well, because Ken is so small and gets such little money that they have to use every grant program they can to get done what they need to do. So that's why you see them using the equipment, because they probably have panned out. I don't remember. Maybe Zach can tell us what they use their money for on school safety.
5 card
IAC?
access control systems, 5, all of their schools.
All of their schools, all 5. So this is just the way they deal with that. And, I actually, this is the first one that I reviewed that I thought, wow, I understand why they're doing what they're doing, because they just don't have very much outside funding.
The last 2 really followed the security survey. So they're actually following up on some shortcomings that the survey told them. So makes sense to me.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good application, but I do recognize what you're saying, but it's just because they have to do whatever they can with the funding.
Yes.
And they'll work on the other stuff to get it done pro bono from their mental health department, I assume.
Okay.
So. And it's a small system. Remember, we're talking about less than 1,800 students.
Wow.
So, it was just there about a month ago in the high school. So they're doing a good job with their program there. All right, do we have a motion to approve this whole grant for the first time today?
I think we ought to give them the extra $100.
I do. Having a good application. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Very good, Kent County. Okey dokey. The great state of Montgomery County.
Montgomery County, my alma mater. Part 1, Project 1, access control door control readers. The funding will be used to purchase access door control card readers with a vestibule of each high and middle school to allow rapid access for law enforcement in an incident. They have issued patrol along with SROs and law enforcement administrators in each school district access cards for all their schools. So there's an incident, even patrol can get into the school right away without having to wait for somebody to let them in.
And that should be general safety as well.
Okay.
My apologies.
Sorry.
So they requested $236,800 for that project.
They the only school system that does that? That sounds like a great idea.
Oh, no, all
So
the
far,
school
yes.
systems have that.
Well, I don't
They're
think
trying,
SD has it,
they're moving
so
that way.
that's why they can't do it.
Well, there's a reason for that. Because DJS can get in,
Okay, right.
so the police are there. I mean, it's the same with Senator's Building.
Yep.
But the school systems have, and they've had that for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe not as sophisticated as the systems are now, but we've always had the fire folks able to get in the
Good.
buildings.
Great.
And they have.
Yeah, they transitioned from the lock boxes over
Exactly.
the cards.
Yeah. Yep.
Project 2, exterior door signage and markings. Funding requested to provide marking and signage for 850 exterior school access doors for quick, rapid identification by law enforcement and emergency service responders. Request for that project is $9,000. Project number 3, automatic external defibrillators. Funding will purchase 134 AEDs and service inspection and maintenance plan for 130 elementary schools and 4 central office locations. The cost for that project requested is $281,400. Project number 4, two-way radios, high schools. Funding will allow purchase of 250 two-way portable radios for use by on-site staff for after-school use and facility use. $190,000 for that project listed. Project number 5, two-way radios, elementary schools. Funding will allow purchase of 675 portable radios for 135 elementary schools for use during emergencies and critical incidents. $243,000 is requested for that project. Project number 6, fingerprinting stations. Funding will purchase 2 fingerprinting stations, fixed and portable, and associated computer document identification laptops and scanners with related technology to enable processing of new hires, volunteers, staff, and other stakeholders for background check purposes. Request for that project is $22,000. Project 7's monitor. Program funds to be used to purchase a large interactive flat screen monitor to be used within the school system's emergency operations area, $3,600. Project number 8, training. Funding will provide for consultant services to assist in developing training in safety, security, and behavioral threat assessment and trauma-informed care, mentoring, emergency preparedness, harm reduction, gang awareness, and pedestrian traffic safety. They're requesting $8,000 for that project. Professional development travel. Funds will be utilized to allow staff to attend various training opportunities within their areas, $5,000. I asked about that in more elaboration. Mr. Clark said the funds will be used to send staff to various training opportunities and conferences to include related travel expenses. Examples of the training and conferences will be sending staff to training in behavioral threat assessment, enhanced school safety emergency response management, crime prevention through environmental design, also known as SEPTED, and other training. The grant funds will cover registration costs, mileage, travel, and hotel per diem for the staff. Because
Yeah, I was just looking that up.
I had to ask him for additional information on that. So they requested $5,000 for that project. Project number 10, outreach. Funding will be used to develop and implement comprehensive, multifaceted community outreach program to include substance abuse, suicide prevention, active assailant response, mental health concerns, reporting of concerns and suspicious behaviors, along with the Maryland Safe Schools tip line and other areas. They're requesting $40,000 for that. Project 11, supply and training materials. Funding will be used to purchase various supplies and training materials to support the grant request information. High visibility vests, folding table, bullhorns, flashlights, emergency kits, and bags for facility prevention, response, and recovery efforts from an event or incident. They're requesting $9,172 for that project. Total requested $1,119,972. Total allocation $1,119,972.
I know that the 40,000 is a lot different than the 5,000, but I still think we might need to know what those trainings are. It just seems like it's a lump sum. I mean, if we're going to ask others, we need to ask them as well.
Yep.
And then I'm not clear
Project 9.
on the outreach $40,000 outreach. I'm looking for the backup on that. And it says grant funds will be used to develop and implement a comprehensive and multifaceted community outreach program. I just am not sure what that is. Outreach efforts in the areas of school safety, security, emergency preparedness, personal safety. It just seems very nebulous to me. Maybe others understand it.
We can go back to them and ask them specifically for another work plan of what the
Yeah, I mean,
actual
it's just-
deliverables
It's such a
are.
big amount of money that,
It's kind of a grab bag.
yeah, it is. So, just to make sure we're applying the same scrutiny to every grant, and not saying it's okay for one and not for another. I want to make sure we're consistent.
Is this the 40 grand?
Yes.
Okay.
So, do we have a motion to approve this if we exclude the 5,040 for more information? All right, do we have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Okay, let's move on then to Prince George's County.
Prince George's County. Project number 1, project coordinators, short-term contract. Funding will provide the services of part-time project coordinator, 20 hours per week.
Here we go.
For 36 weeks. The
I guess
position
we
will
know
not
where
be
that one's
requested or
gonna go.
funded after project completion. They're requesting $43,200 on that project.
Might be even shorter term than they imagine.
Anticipate.
Project number 2, Safe Talk program. All middle and high school staff will receive training in the Safe Talk program. The program is a worksheet-based training to facilitate teachers' abilities to recognize signs of suicide, connect students to suicide intervention resources. They're requesting $43,750 for that project. Project number 3, second assignment stipend. School system policy is to pay a stipend personnel working outside of normally assigned job description duties, known as a second assignment pay. The stipend will be paid to professionals who will be working duties outside normally assigned to their position, $577.
I think you can find that somewhere.
I'm looking for more on that. Go ahead, Dean.
Project number 4, broadening delivery of mental health first aid. They're expanding their youth mental health first aid program initiated during the FY19 Safe Schools grant. This expansion will require training additional staff as instructors who will then provide training to Prince George's County Public School System staff with a program goal of having over 1,000 additional staff trained by this grant program. They're asking $160,500 for that project. Project number 5, restorative approaches training. A combination of 6 middle and high schools will be selected for training in restorative approaches. Training facilitates healthy responses to conflict. 300 staff members from the identified schools will be trained. The cost associated with this training will be for substitute coverage of the classroom while staff are being trained. The request for that project is $112,500. Project number 6, restorative approaches site coordinator stipends. Of the 6 high school, middle schools selected, each facility will have a site coordinator assigned to facilitate the needs of the program. So each of those site coordinators will receive an additional $1,000 on top of their normal pay. $6,000 for that stipend is requested for that project. Project number 7, provision of community-based mental health services. Funding for contracted mental health counseling services for 25 students at 25 selected high and middle schools to receive up to 8 45-minute sessions for each student. The request for that project is $516,950. Supplies and materials for projects 1 through 5 was requested $32,846. Mileage reimbursement for project number 7 for the persons providing the contracted mental health services, $1,200. Fixed costs for their whole training program requested $32,331. They've requested a total of $949,854. Their total allocation is $949,854.
Now, they did include a little more detail about what they want that contracted part-time project manager to be doing, at least more detail than any of the other applications. That would be on page 11 and 12. Starts at the last paragraph on page 11 and continues on to page 12. Although some of the language it crosses over to grant administration versus project management. Keep that in mind.
Yep. Yeah, I still think it falls under the same concerns as before, although kudos for giving more descriptions. I don't get the $577. It's under page.
Explain to me in their employee contracts they have, if you're assigned to work something outside of your normally assigned duties, they call it second assignment pay. They didn't elaborate, I didn't get elaboration who would be getting this right off the top of my head.
Well, it says it's $24 an hour, 8 hours a day for 3 days. I don't know what that's related to. So we would certainly need more information, even though it's a very small number, we would need more information on that.
I wanted to ask about the biggest chunk of it, number 7. If my arithmetic is right, it says services for 25 students at 25 selected schools. So when I went to school, 25 times 25 was 625. So is that how many students? Because that would sound like a reasonable amount. You know, $500,000, it's about like $900 a kid to get some mental health counseling.
Yeah, and they elaborate in their budget.
Yeah, if it's one per school, it's a little pricey. So I'm just reading it says 25 students.
It's odd the way they did that.
Yeah,
They
at
should have
25
just said-
schools, and I can't imagine they're talking about one student in 25 schools.
It's 8 counseling sessions for 25 students at 25 schools at $133 per, 103.39 per 45-minute session, and they're going to be giving up to 8 sessions to each student, is what their plan is.
So that's like 800
Yeah.
800 a student, that's about right. Yeah.
Do any of these services already exist, or even some of the programs with the training? Is this supplanting, I guess, operating dollars? when
So they are telling us that it is not.
It's
It's supplementation.
Okay, so it's,
Um,
they wouldn't be able to
Senator,
carry
it
that.
says on page 13, the community-based mental health providers will serve 25 schools and approximately 25 students per school. Yes, I think we're safe in there.
That's right.
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Okay, other questions on this grant?
I'll make you a deal. I'll move to approve it if we can knock out number 1 and number 3.
I'm with you on that. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Excellent. Okay, moving right along.
Somerset.
Somerset County.
Did we skip the W counties?
They were,
Did we figure that
They were prior.
they were last month.
They were last month, okay.
Somerset County, project number 1, security camera system. Funding will be utilized to replace outdated camera system within the facility and increase coverage within the Somerset Intermediate School. They're requesting $93,000 for that project. Project number 2 is the security camera system to replace outdated system within the C.G. Woodson Elementary School and increase coverage in that facility. That project will be an $85,000 project. Project number 3, communication equipment. Funding will be utilized to replace outdated phone intercom system within Princess Anne Elementary School to effectively and expediently communicate within the facility in case of emergency. This facility is one of 2 open space design facilities that create the need for fast communication ability throughout the facility at one time. The request for that project is $56,000. Total requested, $234,000. I contacted them. They advised that anything over their allocation of $196,570 will be utilized out of their own operating funds. So their total allocation would be $196,570.
All right, any questions on Kent?
Somerset.
On Somerset?
I was going to say, I did look, and we funded some cameras in the entrances to these schools back in 2014. Do they integrate with that, or are they going to actually
In those
replace?
schools that they had, Danielle advised that they were outdated systems. She wanted to replace all of them in those 2 schools. That's the information she gave me.
So is that typical within 5 years, cameras are?
Well, technology changes daily almost now,
Well, that's true.
So I can't answer that, but
But they don't typically try to integrate what already exists. It's usually just replacement.
they try to integrate whenever they can because it saves them money.
Okay.
Yeah, they try to purchase ones that'll go on either their existing system or they replace their existing monitoring system so that any old cameras or new cameras would accommodate. So,
Okay, that's all. I'm just curious.
All right, do we have a motion to approve this grant?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right. St. Mary's County.
Mother county.
St. Mary's County. Project number 1, mental health counseling. Mental health counseling provided to identified schools where students more frequently experience trauma-related symptoms that directly impact their ability to learn and develop. Providing these services in schools removes barriers that some families face when trying to access help. Counseling will include time for group and individual sessions as well as collaboration with staff members in order to meet their goal of supporting student growth academically, socially, and emotionally. St. Mary's County Public Schools will contract licensed clinical therapists in the community to provide mental health counseling services through the end of school year 2020. They're requesting $33,600 for that project. Project number 2, Prepare 2 training, conducting training of administrators and staff to identify, properly respond to, and report threats and behaviors of concern that may pose a threat to the safety of an individual. They're requesting $11,552 for that training. Project number 3, expansion of conscientious discipline training. Conscientious discipline is brain-based social emotional learning that builds resilience in children, families, educators, and schools. Training has been successful in pre-K through grade 3 in St. Mary's County, and they would like to expand it through grade 5 to include collaborative learning and implementation. They're requesting $100,476 for that expansion. Project number 4, National School Safety Social Work Conference, conducting training of administrators and school staff to identify, properly respond to, and report threats of concern that may pose a threat to the safety of an individual. They're requesting $6,645 for that training. Project number 5, Restorative Practice Training. 2 district leads to attend 2 days of training, $2,400. Project number 6, School Overwatch Program Activities. Law enforcement officers participating in the School Overwatch Program will be working this assignment in an overtime capacity and will assist St. Mary's County Public Schools Department of Safety and Security in conducting the recurring school safety evaluations required under the Safe to Learn Act, providing additional information, awareness, and educational focus to school community on traveling safely to and from schools, and encouraging in enforcement efforts to address traffic safety violations occurring in the immediate vicinity of schools. The requested funding for that project is $130,000. For total request, $284,673. The total allocation, $284,673.
I'd like to know how they get these right to the penny. I think that's very amazing. Any questions on this grant? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Another
Well, attach a
100%.
letter of congratulations
Yes.
for their precision.
Yes, well, I'm going to be there on Wednesday
Okay.
for a school visit, so I'll let the superintendent and school safety folks know that they got a big star on their,
At least in arithmetic, anyway.
yes, and getting right to the point.
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Smith will be happy about that. All right, now we move to Talbot County.
Talbot County,
This is revised from our
this
last.
is revised. Project number 1, training of students, social services and social workers in student threat assessment. Funding will train 25 student services counselors, social workers in the use of CARE 2 student threat assessment program. $3,500. Project number 2, training of 2 staff members as crisis intervention trainers. Funding will allow 2 staff members to attend train-the-trainer training in the National Crisis Intervention Program and bring that training back to trained staff during professional development. That project is $6,823. Project number 3, training of staff in identification and de-escalation of concerning behaviors, conducting contracted training for 40 school system personnel on recognition and de-escalation of concerning behaviors. Training will then move to cover a variety of potential threats that may be encountered while in a school setting and techniques in handling same. Request for that project, $24,500. Project number 4, provision of mental health awareness to all TCPS students. Program funding will provide behavioral mental health services to all students within the Talbot County Public School System, regardless of status and ability to pay. Provision will be through the following sub-programs. Speaker series for all 9 schools, $43,000. Provision of mental health services for undocumented students with no insurance, $50,000. Co-pay assistance for general student population with or without insurance, $25,000. Substance abuse screening and evaluation access to care, $16,000. Translation services to assist TCPS students access to mental health and crisis services, $20,000. Training on de-escalation, strategies and tactics influence to design behavioral change and the physiological and psychological effects associated with crisis situations, $14,000. Awareness posters and materials, $3,806. Grand total for that project number 4 would be $171,806. Total requested, $206,629. Total allocation, $206,629.
Senator, can you talk about the insurance aspect
I
of
was
this?
gonna bring that up. I think this is sort of a unique, it looks like their tack is attempting to eliminate barriers to care. And I have no problem with it. Obviously, they thought about how to implement this.
Right.
But sometimes the copay is a barrier, and I think it's probably good. The other thing is that they've got some translators to help with the Hispanic population getting access to care. So it just may, you know this, you forgot more about this area than I will ever know.
Right.
But it just seems to me like this is a unique way of trying to solve their problem with some of our money.
Well, I mean, the mental health piece is a crisis
Yeah.
situation. I just wanted to make sure that that was something a school system could do.
I would probably press back and say, is the use of this money within the bounds of the Safe School Act? Because I mean, personally, I don't have any problem with it. I think it's hitting at something that's probably a big barrier, but.
I do think there is a big focus in the law on mental health services and access to.
Yeah. So, I mean, as long as you all are comfortable with it, I'm certainly very
It
comfortable.
seems to me that if we could allow Prince George's County to put $500,000 to that full-on, paying for everything, should be okay for this
Right.
county to pay $5.
And I think that's uniquely
Some equity,
Talbot County,
right.
where they're saying that they're actually
Well, it's just-
assisting rather than paying in toto.
Right,
So I-
right. Yeah, it says that this block of things is a comprehensive plan to address and provide equal access to mental health services to all Talbot County Public School students. So I think that's pretty admirable in terms of
I do.
equity. All right. Okay, any motions on that one?
I'll move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I think that gets us to the end.
At exactly noon.
At exactly noon. So that's been our longest meeting, I think, well, maybe not in the very beginning. I
Very
think
beginning, we had a couple.
We had meetings that went the whole time, so I can't guarantee the early adjournment, but I can say that our next meeting is going to be here in just about a month's time. I passed a sign yesterday on the road and it flashed, 38 days to Christmas. And I'm like, why? Do you have to remind me? We haven't even had Thanksgiving and we just barely got through Halloween, so anyway. But our next meeting will be here, side A.
We do have one item, so the annual report that you all approved, we need to
okay.
vote on that.
All right, so
My
do we have a
apologies.
motion to approve the annual report?
With
So moved.
revisions.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Annual report is approved.
Thank you.
All right, now, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And again, no one's going to oppose that, I know.